This week, Siskel and Ebert review new caped crusader Val Kilmer battling supervillains Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever. Harvey Keitel and William Hurt play battered Brooklynites in Smoke, plus a special report on this year's Cannes Film Festival.
I saw the signal, sir.
I've left Wayne Enterprises en route to the Batcave.
Val Kilmer replaces Michael Keaton as the Dark Knight in Batman Forever, battling Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones in the third adventure in the series. And Batman Forever is one of the big summer movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert, along with a report on the Cannes Film Festival and also a review of new pictures starring Harvey Keitel and William Hurt, and a drama about a woman who becomes convinced that the very air around her is poisoned with chemicals. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first movie is Batman Forever, the latest in the enormously successful series of films that attempt to cross a comic book superhero with the shadows and mysteries of film noir. The new Batman is Val Kilmer, who finds he's very attractive to Dr. Chase Meridian, an abnormal psychologist played by Nicole Kidman.
I read your work. Insightful. Naive, but insightful.
I'm flattered. Not every girl makes a superhero's night table.
Meanwhile, elsewhere in Gotham City, two villains lay their plans. Two-Face, a former DA gone wrong, is played by Tommy Lee Jones. And the Riddler is Jim Carrey, looking a lot like his character in The Mask here, as he explains his plans to drain the city's collective IQ straight into his own brain.
You will help me steal production capital so I can put a box on every TV in town and become Gotham's cleverest carbon-based life form. And in return, is everybody paying attention? I will help you solve the greatest riddle of all, the mother of all riddles. Who is Batman?
The original comic books were about Batman and Robin, but the first two movies had no Robin. This one does, an orphaned acrobat played by Chris O'Donnell, who's taken in by a well-meaning Bruce Wayne and soon discovers that his host has a secret life as Batman.
Who's your tailor?
Meanwhile, the budding attraction between the sexy Dr. Meridian and Batman continues to grow, maybe because she's attracted to his costume.
You trying to get under my cape, Doctor?
A girl can't live by psychoses alone.
It's the car, right? Chicks love the car.
Batman Forever is a great-looking movie, and it's entertaining, but somehow this series keeps on missing the boat. Batman is the most fascinating and mysterious of all the comic book superheroes, and he's about more than simply action and special effects and colorful villains. Batman Forever is basically just a very good-looking comic book movie, and I think Batman deserves more and better.
It's funny, I've been having a strange reaction to this picture. I liked it while I was watching it, and as soon as it was over, it didn't mean anything to me. And as the days have gone on, it's meant even less, if that's possible. I'm recommending the picture because I can't deny that while I was watching it, I thought the dialogue was very funny. I thought that Jim Carrey, sometimes he goes over the top, but that's Jim Carrey. And I thought also that Nicole Kidman those scenes were really appealing, and they do talk, they do hint at the fetishistic side, if you will, of Batman. There is a little bit of that going on there. So I'm sort of caught in the middle, but I liked it while I was watching it. The way that they juggle the 5 characters here is pretty impressive because they're all given enough screen time, except maybe Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, one thing that happens is that maybe because Jim Carrey is so hot right now, the Riddler kind of takes over the picture and maybe even has as much screen time or almost as much as Batman himself. I cannot quite recommend this movie, and yet I do think it's better than the previous one, Batman Returns. It's kind of in that middle area, and as you observed, it doesn't really have any resonance.
No.
It's kind of like it's a 2-hour and whatever it is, 3-minute movie.
A lot of good scenes and no substance.
2 hours and 5 minutes after it starts, you're thinking about something else.
Okay, let's think about something else. Our next movie is called The Incredibly True Adventures of Two Girls in Love, and this breezy little love story is being touted as the first gay women's film to have a chance to score with mainstream audiences. No stars, just two very appealing young actresses. Laurel Holloman plays a gay teenager who works in a gas station and is immediately drawn to a very cute customer played by Nicole Parker.
Randy Dean. You know, like this in James Dean? Oh, he's my uncle. Really? Just kidding.
It turns out they attend the same high school, but to me, both actresses look like they're in their early 20s. Nevertheless, it's at high school where the flirting begins. The relationship develops over coffee. Some good dialogue here.
I don't want to shock you or anything, but I really want to hold your hand right now.
Naturally, the straight world reacts with surprise at the new affair.
Well, Evie, how are we supposed to process this?
In therapy, I guess.
Are you guys going to go to the prom together, too?
You know what? I saw a movie about that. Two girls went to the prom together. It was on cable.
Two Girls in Love is full of natural, easygoing moments. Sometimes I caught the actresses acting, but rarely. My one major quibble with this generally breezy picture is the high school setting. I didn't get that. I would think with these appealing characters, the story would have been a whole lot better if it had taken place in a more adult setting, maybe with them having regular jobs. Still, a marginal thumbs up for me.
Well, I give it a thumbs up, and I disagree with you. This has to take place in high school for a number of reasons. First of all,
you think they look like high school girls?
They look like they might be in high school, but a lot of
really?
That's a side issue, Gene.
What do you mean?
The story itself. Let's get on to the story itself, and the people could see for themselves what they look like. It has to take place in high school because, in the case of one of the girls, she is just discovering now that she might be gay. It has to take place in high school because it's as much about idealism, or even more about idealism, than it is about sex. It's about reading poetry and listening to music. And in the case of the girl who works in the gas station, it's about having a whole other side of life, and idealism and ideas and art opened up to her.
Right.
And it has to be in high school because of the touching shyness and tentative nature with which these two people come together. They're experimenting with themselves, with their futures. They're making discoveries there. These are all things that take place before you become an adult, and it's that tentative, innocent nature of this relationship that is its very special appeal.
Well, I think all of those things could be happening in one's early 20s because, frankly, I don't think everybody's an adult in their early 20s.
Well, I think that your entire objection here is just irrelevant to whether this film is any good or not.
It's something I think it's a good picture for all the reasons.
It's a very good film.
That's why I gave it a positive review.
Okay.
I'm just saying that, and you really went at it like a little dog with a bone. I'm just saying, as I look at them, I thought that they were cast to look older.
I just kind of wanted to dismiss that and go on, and you're the one that insisted on making it the crux of your entire review when it's really irrelevant to the values of this film. When we come back, Harvey Keitel and William Hurt spin Pipe Dreams in Smoke.
It's a good story.
I don't need your help. I got a man to take care of me, which is more than you can say for yourself, Hawkeye.
Hey, don't talk to your mother like that.
Harvey Keitel plays a cigar store manager who used to be the lover of Stockard Channing and may or may not be the father of Ashley Judd. In that scene from Smoke, a wonderfully written new movie that centers around the stories of a group of people who all seem to pass through the same Brooklyn cigar store. One of them is William Hurt, a writer who's in mourning for his murdered wife. When a young man saves his life, Hurt becomes his friend and tells him stories connecting the two great remaining loves of his life, which are writing and smoking.
And there's Bakhtin, holed up in an apartment expecting to be killed any day. He has plenty of tobacco but no paper to roll it in, so he takes the pages of a manuscript he's been working on for 10 years and tears them up to roll his cigarettes.
His only copy.
His only copy. I mean, if you think you're gonna die, what's more important, a good book or a good smoke?
That's Harold Perrineau Jr. as Rashid, the young man who eventually is able to track down his own father, played by Forrest Whitaker, who doesn't recognize him. The movie is sort of about how one person's misfortune leads to another person's good luck.
I mean, you don't want to make a nuisance of yourself, right? I was working on a sketch. The garage of yours is so run down. It's kind of interesting.
Smoke is directed by Wayne Wang, and it's a small but just about perfect little movie that does just what it sets out to do. Tells us stories about big city people who are lonely and romantic, victims of fate, and yet smart enough to help fate along. The performances by Hurt and Keitel establish the perfect tone. When they talk, their dialogue is rich and evocative, but they give the feeling that talk is basically just something you do during and in between a good smoke.
The most interesting line in your review to me was when you said the movie is sort of about, because this is a movie sort of about a lot of things, and you could have picked 10 other things. I don't know if that I have seen a picture quite like this, where the stories and the people really do seem disconnected, and yet it all works, because it's all of an offbeat piece. These seem like the kinds of scenes, I've said this before, the kinds of dialogue that's left out of other movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never forget this picture, and I can't tell you what it's about.
The writing by Paul Auster of the dialogue
Absolutely
here
great.
is just right on, and the actors and director do such a good job of delivering it.
It's a special film. Coming up next, a young homemaker has an allergic reaction to her house, her husband, and just about everything else in her life. A review of the new movie, Safe, is next.
Perfectly healthy. You might want to consult someone.
A psychiatrist.
A married woman begins reacting to the chemicals in her life. Her husband and doctor doubt her illness, and she winds up in a desert clinic that may just be a cult, or at least it's a crutch in her life. That's the provocative premise of a disturbing new film called Safe, written and directed by Todd Haynes. Safe stars Julianne Moore, who was so very good in Vanya on 42nd Street. Here she's a wealthy suburban Los Angeles housewife who is increasingly getting sick, and she thinks it's all due to the chemicals in the air, including a truck's exhaust fumes.
I really believe that he thinks he's doing the Lord's work. He's always been a very well, maybe he's right.
Her husband, played by Xander Berkeley, is skeptical of her constantly enfeebled state, especially at their bedtime.
Carol, what the hell is going on here?
Nothing.
Somebody has a headache every night a week.
Increasingly feeling sick, she's sent to a psychiatrist.
We really need to be hearing from you. What's going on in you?
Later still, she hears about a clinic in the desert that caters to people who can't handle their environment, and it's here that Safe is at its most provocative.
These feelings that you're having, Carol, are extremely common, especially in relation to new environments, and especially for someone who's environmentally ill, okay? And what we're about is trying to help absorb as many of these tensions as we can, so you're free to do the kind of healing that you need to be doing.
People are suffering from all kinds of fears these days, and they have real medical sources, but Safe suggests to me that chasing safety may be a trap that may lead to a falsely secure and yet thoroughly empty life. It's a truly disturbing, one-of-a-kind picture from a director, Todd Haynes, who has a distinctive visual style. I like Safe a lot.
I liked it a lot, too, and I had the same conclusion that you had. The funny thing is, when you walk into the movie, and maybe even for the first hour, you think, this is like a disease of the week docudrama. You know, this is this week's disease, and at the end, she's going to get cured. And when she goes out to the place in the desert, you think, well, here she's going to find all the answers, and they'll stand in a circle, and they'll pray to Gia, the earth god, and they'll all be healthy. And then you realize, no. This is a disease that may be caused by the environment or may, in fact, be caused by herself. And just because everybody blames her for her disease doesn't mean that she might not be complicitous in some way. It's a very complicated movie, and at the end, you're left with the feeling that for this particular woman, some kind of disease was going to happen sooner or later.
Well, I got it more than an hour into the picture. You get it with the initial framing by this Todd Haynes of his pictures. He's showing her in a perfect setting, a magnificent home, and yet it is deadly dull there and sick in some way. And he holds on these shots. That's what the distinctive style of this picture is. He's tipping you off right from his very first image that this is a disturbed woman and a disturbed environment, and there are problems aplenty here.
And then on the soundtrack is filled wall to wall with subtle, little background noises indicating the presence of polluting.
I think what he's really capturing is the feeling that we sometimes get, where all of a sudden you're just sort of disoriented, and you think, it's a strange thing going on right now, and those little moments are what this picture's all about.
It's a real interesting film. The 48th Annual Cannes Film Festival recently wrapped on the French Riviera, and we'll have an on-location report when we come back.
Consider credit card rebates, gasoline, airline miles, cars. Many can hold you down with restrictions or yearly limits. But not the Discover card. The more you use your card, the higher your cashback bonus award. And you're never restricted on how you can use cash. When it comes to rebates from the Discover card, the sky's the limit. It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back. Accepted where you see the Nova sign.
An animated classic comes to life in the all-new Disney adventure, The Jungle Book on video. Own the movie you'll go ape for. The story of Mowgli, a boy raised in the jungle. Who holds the secret to a forgotten treasure. Get it! Now it's an all-out rescue with Baloo, King Louie, Bagheera, and Shere Khan in the year's best family movie. Splendid. Own Disney's classic legend, The Jungle Book on video, now on sale.
When you check into your hotel at the Cannes Film Festival, you get a booklet containing thousands of names, and next to every name is one of two words, buying or selling. Cannes is a vast movie trade fair where the movie business comes to buy and sell, and in between somewhere is a film festival that honors artistry in film. This was my 21st year at Cannes, and as usual, I could have done with a little more art and a little less buying and selling. In its 48th year, the Cannes International Film Festival is the biggest and most important film event in the world. A cinema showcase in the south of France where art films rub shoulders with exploitation pictures, and some movies are evaluated by juries while others are sold by the pound. The general consensus was that this year's festival was a little disappointing. There was no sensational discovery like Pulp Fiction, Red, or Do the Right Thing. But there were good films, and of course thousands of fans lined up as always for a glimpse of the stars like Hugh Grant, Andy Garcia, Johnny Depp, and Sharon Stone, who got a kick out of being this year's reigning sex symbol. The stars traditionally walk up this red carpeted staircase at the Festival Palace, but when the palace opened 10 years ago, Catherine Deneuve found that its original staircase was so steep it was dangerous.
The steps were too short, and a terrible thing happened. You know, we were stuck in the middle and people start pushing. You know, it's like when there is a fire, you know, in a cinema and people start pushing in both ways. Nobody can move, and then you become to be pressed, and then people started to fall. Even the wife of the producer fell down. She fainted. It was terrible. Why do the stars come? Because you can get more worldwide publicity for your movie at Cannes than anywhere else.
I see Cannes as a coming together of the world film community.
But always I'm here as a guy who's sort of talking to you, who's here to sell the picture.
It's like so much, you know, attention at one point. When you open a film, or when I have opened a film in America, it's sporadic, and no one's every place at once. You know, everybody's here. It's very different.
Most of the Yankee entries, movies like Jefferson in Paris, Ed Wood, and Kiss of Death, had already opened and closed in America and were shut out of the awards at Cannes. Also shut out of prizes was the festival's most controversial film, Kids, which presented one day in the lives of a group of Manhattan teenagers whose alarming behavior is likely to win the film an NC-17 rating. At Cannes, English movies play with French subtitles and French movies with English subtitles. The winner of this year's Palme d'Or was Underground, a 3-hour epic by Amir Kusturica about the rise, fall, and destruction of Yugoslavia. The special jury prize, which is a fancy name for second place, went to Ulysses' Gaze by the Greek director Theo Angelopoulos. As an indication of how seriously the prizes are taken, he wasn't at all pleased with his runner-up award and made an angry speech, then walked off stage and refused to join the group photo of the winners. How important is a major prize at Cannes?
It's not my place to speak for the Americans, but I think they feel about Cannes as they do about British actors, you know. Classy, but not really box office.
Of all the films I saw at Cannes this year, the two you're likely to hear the most about are Carrington and Kids. Carrington is the story of a strange romance between homosexual writer Lytton Strachey and artist Dora Carrington. It won the Best Actor prize for Jonathan Pryce and will probably easily get Oscar nominations for both Pryce and Emma Thompson. And Kids, which opens in August, tells a shocking story about teenagers in Manhattan and will probably be the year's most controversial film. In fact, they're even having a debate right now about whether Miramax will be able to release it or whether they're going to have to start another company in order to release it.
Coming up, one of the best family movies I've seen in years. It's just being released this week on home video. Our video pick of the week is next.
Next? Now, why should we let you in?
Well, I spent my life avoiding sin.
Including gluttony? Roll the film, Gabe.
Here you are, consuming an entire bag of movie theater buttered popcorn.
No, wait. That's light popcorn.
New movie theater butter light from Orville Redenbacher. A big buttery taste.
And it has no more fat than other lights.
Our mistake. Proceed.
New Red and Butter's light. It only tastes sinful.
Nobody's perfect.
Wrong answer.
As anyone who has ever owned one of our pickups can tell you, Nissan builds one very tough truck. Now, J.D. Power and Associates has ranked Nissan as the best overall truck line and vehicle dependability at 5 years of ownership in a tie with Toyota. Fortunately, at Nissan, we've developed a tiebreaker.
Siskel and Ebert's Video Pick of the Week, brought to you by Orville Redenbacher's Gourmet Popping Corn, the best part of the movies.
With all the talk from politicians and even the American Medical Association about Hollywood's lack of family values, here's some good news. You now have a chance to rent Little Women, one of the best family movies made in recent years, featuring a sparkling Oscar-nominated performance by Winona Ryder as Jo March, one of the March sisters, and director Gillian Armstrong's fabulous adaptation of the Louisa May Alcott classic.
Oh, I'd commit murder to go to college. Actually, if I were going to be a writer, I'd go to New York and pursue the stage. Are you shocked?
Little Women is all about young women reaching their potential, and it's also about a mother holding a big family together while her husband is fighting in the Civil War. Susan Sarandon co-stars.
If you feel your value lies in being merely decorative, I fear that someday you might find yourself believing that's all that you really are. Timey roads, all such beauty. But what it could not diminish is the wonderful workings of your mind.
If you're serious about wanting Hollywood to make family movies, then you've got to support Little Women. It's our video pick of the week. Now let's recap the movies we reviewed on this show. A split vote on Batman Forever. I liked it more than Roger. Good characters, I think, in a forgettable story. 2 thumbs up for the incredibly true adventure of Two Girls in Love, a sweet lesbian love story with winning performances by Laurel Holloman and Nicole Parker. 2 thumbs up for Smoke, a truly offbeat series of urban short stories from director Wayne Wang and novelist Paul Auster. And 2 thumbs up for Safe, from director Todd Haynes, a powerful drama about fear and the environment and people running from contact with one another.
That's it for this week. Next week we'll be back with a special show called Siskel and Ebert Family Values. In the aftermath of recent attacks on violence in Hollywood films, we'll recommend 10 good recent films families can see together, including adults who can enjoy them too. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.